Good evening and welcome to News Central. CMU students begin signing up for school assignments tonight.
And also on Central's campus, major changes will go in effect for the Industrial and Engineering Technology Department. I'm Renee Nott.
I'm Tim Wright, and News Central is next.
Serving the Mount Pleasant community and Central Michigan University. With Renee Nott, Tim Wright, Brian Fortier with weather, and Bret Bakita with sports. Live from Central Michigan University, this is News Central.
Two Central Michigan University residence halls will be closing by the fall of next year.
Barnard and Tate halls will close due to the expense of running the facilities and the decline in freshman enrollment.
We're anticipating a large number of students going through, and in order to give everybody a fair chance to go through, we thought that having a lottery would be the best way to do that.
And not only do students choose which room they'd like to stay in, but also whether or not they would like to stay on a chemically free floor, not allowing alcohol or tobacco in any form.
The reason that there's alcohol-free is there's a demand for it. Mainly, not necessarily with the students that currently live on campus, but a number of students that are coming in next semester are very interested in an alcohol-free environment. In fact,
Robinson is expected to fill to capacity by Thursday with absolutely no spaces left over.
Would mean minimally 240 people will be going through a room draw in Robinson. Personally, I expect maybe around 300 to 400 people to try and get into Robinson.
Do you think tonight, and all the dorms are expected to fill? Robinson still has numbers available for pickup until 9 o'clock tonight, even during the drawing. CMU President Leonard Plachta's policy of students as customers is drawing fire from one man. David Ling, president of the Faculty Association, told members of the Mount Pleasant Rotary students are not customers. He said that the relationship between students and teachers goes beyond the customer concept. According to Ling, it is not unusual for students to refer to teachers as having a profound influence on their lives. President Plachta's plan calls for CMU to treat students as customers in order to increase enrollment.
As program review nears conclusion, John Hager, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, feels that the Department of Industrial and Engineering Technology stands on the brink of major changes. Hager says anytime there are major changes in the program, it can be threatening. John Novosad, chairman of IET, says reductions in faculty, lack of class offerings, and underutilization of building space and equipment plague the department. Novosad said the department spoke with the dean and the provost, and it appears they feel the IET is a viable and necessary component of the university. He says the administration wants to see a focus in the department programming. While the department will choose for itself what direction to move in, the students' education is one of the main concerns of faculty members, says Novosad.
A Vestaburg teenager has filed a civil lawsuit against an Isabella County Sheriff's Department. Shane Welch is seeking damages in excess of $10,000 for an accident he had with a deputy, John Leonard. Leonard was traveling at over 65 miles per hour, responding to an assistance call, when the car Welch was traveling in turned into the path of the police car. According to court documents, Welch sustained injuries to his spleen, liver, heart, and numerous broken bones. The police investigation recommended that no charges be filed in the accident because investigators were unable to determine which driver was at fault.
The 11-year-old girl injured in yesterday's two-car crash on Isabella Road still remains in critical condition. The investigation into the accident is underway and no citations have been issued yet. The girl was flown by helicopter to St. Mary's Medical Center in Saginaw, where she remains today. She was injured in the car and was to a bus crash that occurred yesterday morning at the intersection of Broomfield and Isabella Roads. The car in which the girl was headed was northbound when it ran a stop sign and was struck by the side of an ICTC bus. Both drivers of the vehicle were injured and taken to Central Michigan Community Hospital, but were later released. The young girl, whose name has not yet been released, suffered from a punctured lung and head injuries.
2 Hamtramck men were convicted and a third acquitted of charges this week stemming from the attempted January 9th nighttime burglary of Arthur's Jewelers in Mount Pleasant. Leonard Dushai and Petre Imri both pleaded no contest to 3 counts against them of breaking and entering with intent to commit larceny, conspiracy to break and enter, and possession of burglary tools. Dijon was found innocent Friday by an Isabella County Sheriff jury Friday after a 4-day trial and about 10 hours of jury deliberations. Also convicted in the burglary attempt was Lisa Barty, the man's girlfriend at the time. Each of the 3 charges carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison.
Voters in Shepherd turned down a request by the school board for an increased millage. The board had been asking for an almost 3 3/4 mils increase in school taxes to build additional rooms at the middle and high schools. The issue was defeated 708 to 592, with only 32% of the 4,000 registered voters turning out. The bond issue is the 9th one to go down in the past 19 years. The main operating millage is due for renewal in June. General Motors has asked the Michigan Court of Appeals for an injunction against another court order forcing the company to keep its Willow Run plant open. GM had planned to close the assembly plant this summer, but its Ypsilanti Township appealed, telling the court that GM received millions of dollars in tax breaks. GM claims that the plan is hurting its profitability with its high costs. An attorney for the township said the appeal is just GM's throwing its weight around the courts.
Brian Fortier joins us now to tell us more about our beautiful weather.
Well, it was beautiful around here the past couple of days, and I hope you had a chance to get out and enjoy it, because unfortunately it's not going to stick around.
Oh.
I'll have details in the forecast in a few minutes.
Governor Engler announces plan to expand Michigan's industrial employment.
And if Michigan legislature has its way, they may eliminate driver's license rather than fining. We'll be right back.
Maybe you have what it takes to be one of us. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi there. Unfortunately, we here at 91.5 Videos from the Edge spent so much money on the radio promo that we only have the money for the TV promo to give you this cool-looking graphic and to tell you that 91.5 Videos from the Edge plays the coolest alternative music videos on the face of the earth. You can catch it every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday night at 6 o'clock on the new MHTV. You want a joke? How many CEOs does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Personally, I learned about the disease and all the implications when my brother was diagnosed. And it was a harsh reality. I had to learn a lot very quickly. Even though I thought I knew a lot about AIDS, the picture changed when it became a family issue.
If I, the son of a Baptist minister from basically a rural area, can acquire AIDS, anybody can.
Obviously, women can get AIDS. I mean, I'm certainly here to witness to that. That it's not a we-they disease, it's an us disease.
AIDS is not a problem that affects other people. AIDS affects us all. Know the facts about AIDS. Know how to protect yourself and your family. Tell others. For answers to your questions about AIDS, call 1-800-342-AIDS.
Unemployment rates fell in Michigan in most major labor markets last month.
The Michigan Employment Security Commission says most markets are showing a rise in jobs, although declines are reported in construction and in retail business. Lansing was the only major market to see rates rise last month, up almost 2.5%. The lowest rate was in Ann Arbor, while the average rate was 7.5%.
Current unemployed Michigan residents may find it easier to find a job with the passing of a new job creation program. Governor John Engler announced today that in order to help expand and keep Michigan's industrial employment base, he has unveiled the new job creation plan. The state's seasoned jobless rate dropped to 6.8% in February, with a 0.3% drop below the national unemployment rate. Michigan has never seen an economic slump of this sort since 1978. Engler told reporters at the Economic Club of Detroit yesterday that Michigan's slippage below the national average unemployment rate was a sure sign that they were needed to be this effort to retain and create high-paying jobs.
If several bills pass in the Michigan legislature, motorists will be coughing up their driver's licenses instead of fines. The bill, which are now in review in the Capitol, includes several that would take away or withhold new licenses to anyone under 18 convicted of an alcohol offense, even if the violation does not involve driving. Another package requires a 6-month license suspension for anyone convicted of a drug offense. Also pending are bills that would take away the driver's licenses of people who are delinquent in child support payments or who fail to respond to civil infractions. While the governor's spokesman says John Engler is among those who think the threat of a revoked license will deter wrongdoing, the bills are getting criticism from people who say the penalties will not keep motorists from driving away. According to Michigan Secretary of State figures, more than 155,000 motorists were convicted of driving without licenses in 1990 and in 1991.
The hunt for restaurateur Chuck Muir has been called off. The president of AirScan in Palm Beach, Florida, says the private air search company last searched the Atlantic Ocean for the Muirs and another couple on Sunday. He says it just did not make sense to keep looking for the Muir sailboat, which the foursome sailed into the Bahamas. But while the decision to end the search came from Muir's family, 4 children of the couples have chartered a boat to keep looking for their parents. Muir, who owns 22 restaurants in Michigan and other states, along with his wife and another couple, were last seen in the Bahamas the day before the huge storm hit.
The custody battle between a girl's biological parents and the parents who raised her since infancy has ended. The Michigan Court of Appeals released a ruling this morning that overturned the Washtenaw County Circuit Court decision previously concerning this case. The young girl was released into the custody of her biological father after she had spent 2 years with her mother and another man claiming to be her father. The case began when Kara Schmidt from Iowa gave birth to a baby girl and then named another man as her father. The real father, John DeBauer, filed suit against Schmidt but was not given custody by the Washtenaw court. Schmidt now has 21 days to turn over the child.
The highest awards were provided in the following categories. Best Picture went to Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven, and Best Director also went to The Unforgiven's Clint Eastwood. Al Pacino took home the Oscar for Best Actor for his role in Scent of a Woman. Emma Thompson scored an Oscar for Best Actress in Howard's End. Again, Unforgiven took another award as Gene Hackman was given it for Best Supporting Actor. Best Supporting Actress was Marisa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny. The original music score and original song was given to the Disney animation movie Aladdin and the song Whole New World. Unfortunately, News Central director Sean Mahon did not get any awards last night. Better luck next year, Sean.
The first war crimes trial in Bosnia has been completed. The military tribunal in Sarajevo has found 2 Serbian soldiers guilty of massacring civilians and in raping and murdering female prisoners. One defendant admitted guilt to the crimes, while another claimed that he was beaten into falsely confessing. Both men plan to appeal the verdict, which has sentenced both of them to death by firing squad. On the eastern front of Bosnia-Herzegovina, a 3-day ceasefire is still holding. The lull in the fighting allows yet another UN convoy to reach the embattled city of Srebrenica, bringing with it food and supplies and retrieving truckloads of refugees. Washington's top diplomat told the U.S. Senate today that the Clinton administration does not plan to cut aid to the Middle East so that it can send more aid to Russia. Secretary of State Warren Christopher spoke to a Senate subcommittee.
It is much more than a helping hand. It is much more than charity. It's an investment in American security and American prosperity. It is a way to forward America's own interests.
The White House is defending its decision to ask for lifting of a congressional ban on federally funded abortions. For the last 16 years, Congress has banned the use of Medicaid funds to provide abortions to the poor, except for in the case in which a mother's life is in danger. White House spokesman George Stephanopoulos said that the president feels that the ban goes too far. The man who wrote the bill banning federally funded abortions said that he is not surprised that the president is lifting of the ban. President Henry Hyde had this to say.
In the middle, that is uncomfortable with abortion. They support abortion under certain circumstances, but are not comfortable with abortion on demand for any reason. And the battle for the hearts and minds of that 60% is what the struggle is all about.
Coming up on News Central, we'll have Bret Bakita in with sports.
And Brian Fortier with the weather. We'll be right back.
That you will always have a friend here at Carver High. Congratulations.
Decide what you're going to do after graduation, Michael.
Yep, I'm going to go home and make a sandwich.
Well then, Michael.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. G?
I'm fine.
Listen, what are you doing after graduation? I don't know. I was thinking about going home and brushing the teeth and combing the hair. Hey, what's up? We made it.
Hey, I couldn't have gotten through physics without you.
Yeah, well, you're on your own at college.
It's not fair.
That's all right. I'm going to get a job, you know. I'm going to start working. I'm going to save. And I'll be in college in another year or two.
Mike.
So, what do you have planned, Mike?
I think I'm going to go home and make a sandwich. It's okay.
Support the United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Having the right resume is vital to your future career. That's why you need a resume from Copy Corner, your professional resume headquarters. Copy Corner will help you every step of the way, from writing to layout to printing. And you'll end up with a resume to impress any prospective employer. For one resume or 100, you can't beat our prices, high quality, or fast service. So for a professional resume, contact the experts at Copy Corner, located in Saddler Square, Big Rapids, and the Cinema Plaza, Mount Pleasant.
That's my dad. And that's Mom. Dad's got an idea. A way to get rid of all the grody garbage that's polluting the world. He's invented a big rocket ship to shoot all the garbage into outer space. Mom's not sure. But Dad says his invention will save the world.
There's an easier way to save the world. Recycle. For your free recycling action guide, write Recycle. Environmental Defense Fund, 257 Park Avenue South, New York, New York.
Good evening. Currently here in Mount Pleasant, we have clear skies and a temperature of 65, which is the warmest we've been so far this year. Our dew point's at 36, the humidity is at 34%, barometric pressure is 29.92 and falling, and our wind is northeast at 13 miles an hour. Our almanac today, our normal high is 49, the record 75 was set back in 1943. Our normal low is 30, the record low of 6 was set back in 1954. The sun will set tonight at 7:01, come up tomorrow at 6:22, and we're now gaining about 4 minutes a day of sunlight. Taking a look around the nation today, we can see that out west, a little bit of a cold front coming on shore out here, touching off a few rain and snow showers, but nothing really in the way of a big deal. Stampede past Washington today was 37 degrees. Their temperature kept down a little bit as they still have 54 inches of snow on the ground. The main action in the country today is this low pressure down here, which is touching off a lot of severe weather. There's 4 tornado watches in effect in 6 states down here. And there's been reports of softball and baseball-sized hail in parts of Oklahoma and Texas, and there's a report in Oklahoma of a roof being blown off a junior high school. A lot of heavy rain up to the mid-plains, some thunderstorms up into Iowa and up into Minnesota. Those should mainly miss us as they're heading to the north and are going to fall apart as they get into the cooler air. Our weather is going to be influenced by this cold front, which is going to come down from the south tomorrow, and it's going to park itself just south of Michigan, keeping us in the cold air. Today, Chicago was 76 degrees, the mid-70s made it that close to us on the west side of the city, but on the east side, where they had the winds off the lake, they were only 45, and temperatures were in the 70s throughout Indiana, Ohio, and down to the south. Up in the northeast today, some rain over by Boston and New York, temperatures in the mid-40s. The place to be today was down in Miami, where they had sunny skies and a high of 86. Taking a look at our next map will show that tomorrow's forecast map, which this high pressure is going to kind of push everything a little bit to the south. This cold front's going to come through, and this cold low pressure here is going to move up along this. It's going to divide the cold air up here from the warm air down here, where temperatures are going to be in the 70s and 80s. And we could actually see a little bit of the S word over the next couple days, a few snow flurries, especially off towards the north. Now, as we take a look at the state map, actually, we can see today Marquette had a record high of 57 degrees. Escanaba only made it to 46 as they had some winds off of Lake Michigan. Across the rest of the lower peninsula, temperatures were in the 60s today, with the exception of Alpena, was only made it to 57. Grand Rapids only made it to 60 as they had a few clouds holding their temperature down a little bit. And the warmest temperature in the state today was at Muskegon, where they made an afternoon high of 68. Now we'll take a look at the forecast. For tonight, it'll be coming cloudy with a low of 35. Winds will be from the northeast, about 5 to 15. Tomorrow, windy and colder. We'll only have a high of 44. We could actually see a few sprinkles or snow flurries late in the day, and the winds will be from the northeast at 10 to 20, and they'll be gusty. As we take a look at the extended outlook, it'll show, if it's there, I guess it's not there, that we would have temperatures cooling off for the rest of the week and just going downhill as we may see a little bit of rain, snow, and possibly some freezing rain Thursday morning. A little bit. But next week, looks like we're going to warm up again.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, good. Okay.
Good day to take a walk.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. We'll be right back.
Told you before we went to see the kids to wrap them water pipes with insulation.
Yeah, should have listened.
And didn't I tell you to leave the doors under the sink open?
Yeah.
And leave the heat on?
Yep.
You know, if you'd done all them things, we wouldn't have had to rip out the wall-to-wall carpet when we got home.
Yep, I know.
And we wouldn't have drowned the Victrola.
Yep, should have listened.
Oh, fool.
Oh, I got one.
To compete, you've got to be strong. To win, you've got to be smart. Maybe you can be one of us, the few, the proud, the Marines.
Having the right resume is vital to your future career. That's why you need a resume from Copy Corner, your professional resume headquarters. Copy Corner will help you every step of the way, from writing to layout to printing. And you'll end up with a resume to impress any prospective employer. For one resume or 100, you can't beat our prices, high quality, or fast service. So for a professional resume, contact the experts at Copy Corner, located in Saddler Square, Big Rapids, and the Cinema Plaza, Mount Pleasant.
And now Brett's in with sports.
CMU baseball comes to Mount Pleasant today.
Spring was in the air today as the sunshine, cracking sounds of the bats, and the cheering of the crowd as CMU baseball returned home to Mount Pleasant. The Chippewas took the field today in front of a good crowd at Tennyson Stadium. As we now move to action against Ferris State Bulldogs here in the fourth inning, it was Ferris State getting the bats rolling as John Jasubnowski gets the yard by a single to right, scoring Chris Bicka from second, and it's a 3-3 ball game. Central comes back, however, by one in the bottom of the sixth inning. Trailing by one as Tim Spar drives in Matt Rulig to tie the game at 5-all. And then Scott Doyle, just two hitters later, gets the game winner, driving in Spar, as Central wins the first game of the doubleheader by a score of 6-5. Here we see Spar scoring the winner. Scott Nielsen was the winning pitcher for the Chippewas, moving his record to 2-0. Meanwhile, Central jumps to 8-2 on the season. They are currently in the second game of that doubleheader over at Tennyson Stadium, as Central leads it again by a score of 6-5 in the bottom of the eighth. At the beginning of spring training, Cecil Fielder of the Detroit Tigers was having trouble hitting. He said that he could not find his rhythm. Well, yesterday, Fielder and the rest of the Detroit Tigers were rocking and rolling over the Cincinnati Reds, as Fielder, Rob Deere, and Mickey Tettleton all hit 2 homers, while Lou Whitaker contributed 1. The Tigers win a big one, 15-11 over the Reds. Tigers' Sparky Anderson said that he knows they will be in the top 3 or 4 in scoring in home runs. That's not what concerns him. With the first game less than a week away, pitching is Sparky's major concern, and today the Tigers decided to ease Sparky's pain as the acquisition of left-handed reliever Bob McDonald from the Toronto Blue Jays makes the Tigers' pitching staff that much more deep. The 28-year-old McDonald appeared in 27 games with Toronto last year, compiling a 4.37 ERA. In other baseball news, investigators for the Florida Game and Freshwater Commission have determined Cleveland Indians pitcher Tim Cruz was legally drunk when he and teammate Steve Olin were killed in a boating accident last week. On a report released today, Cruz was said he had a blood alcohol level of .14 when the boat he was driving rammed a dock. Colonel Bob Edwards of the State Commission says no criminal charges will be filed as a result of the March 22nd accident. In NBA action last night, first at the Boston Garden is a concerned Chris Ford here. He has nothing to worry about as Kevin Gamble hits the three, and the Boston Celtic fans are celebrating. In the Omni, we move now as Dominique Wilkins gets the steal and lays it in for two of his game-high 48 as the Hawks roll in overtime, 127-118. In Utah, some waking up by the Denver Nuggets as they get the upset over the Jazz. Chris Jackson here will nail the three-pointer as the Nuggets go on to win it 114-101. In college basketball action, the NIT tournament semifinals took place last night in Madison Square Garden, and Minnesota gets the victory here as the three-pointer and the foul by Sean Leonard. Minnesota picks up the victory 76-70. In the second game, it was Georgetown on the defensive end as they hold UAB scoreless in the last 9 minutes. You can see the upset there. Georgetown wins it 45-41. Moving to the Frozen Pond action, it was shut out in New Jersey as the Devils just burned the Nets, beating San Jose by a score of 5-0. There you see the goal by Richer. And in Detroit, it was not a pretty sight for the Red Wings fans as LA came up with 6 unanswered goals in the third period to crush Detroit by a score of 9-3. College basketball fans can breathe a sigh of relief today as former North Carolina State coach Jim Valvano, who is suffering from cancer, is currently being reported in satisfactory condition. Valvano entered the Duke University Medical Center in Raleigh, North Carolina last week on an unscheduled visit, but doctors say there is no concern as Valvano is expected to return home earlier this week. And lastly, quickly tonight, if you missed those scores, we're going to run them by you real quick here. Boston over Sacramento, there you see 110-89. Quickly, Denver over Utah, 114-101. Washington over Milwaukee, 114-107. And the NIT semifinals, it was Minnesota and Georgetown getting the victories. They'll move into the finals Wednesday night. And NHL action, there you see it, Los Angeles crushing Detroit 9-3, and it was New Jersey shutting out San Jose 5-0.
Detroit really took a beating last night.
Well, they made the goalie switch, but it didn't come through. 6 unanswered goals in the final period.
That'll do it. We'll be right back.
Shoulder mounted. It weighs just 4 pounds. But it's the most powerful weapon this individual learns to use. Because this weapon is the mind of a Marine. If you put your mind to it, maybe you can be one of us, the few, the proud, the Marines.
When friends don't stop friends from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and... Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
If you were a young adult and you won $20 million, what would you do?
That's the dilemma faced by a 19-year-old Roseville man who was the first person to win the debut drawing of the Michigan Bonus Lotto game. Being the youngest winner in Michigan Lotto history, this young man requested total anonymity. The man will be paid approximately $1 million a year before taxes for the next 20 years. He told Lotto officials that he has already quit his job as a machine repairman and has started to make plans to attend college. Among other plans, the young Lotto winner wants to buy a truck, start a business, buy a house, travel, and make some investments. Also, he plans to help his parents retire.
What a life.
What more could you ask for?
Yeah.
Well, that wraps it up for News Central, and stay tuned till tomorrow and we'll have more. Thanks for joining us.